These days, there are tons of competitions for youngsters to get involved in, such as open meets. Some athletes manage to get in 20 to 25 races of 100 to 200 meters from April to August, but their improvement from April to August is negligible or non-existent. Could this be a result of burnout, or athletes not allowing themselves enough time to rest, recover, or develop? This is a common condition called plateauing. It's like the athletics version of Groundhog Day. So what time did I get? 11:08. Okay, what was my time? 11:08. How fast did I go? 11:08. What time did I do? 11:08. Okay, what was my time? 11:76. Rounds up to 11:08. Preach! Testify! Okay, I'm going to go a little off-road here to answer this, but I'm going to get you to your destination, just see. The best performance in you is the perfect balance of work and rest. Your personal best is the best version of that balance that you've managed to achieve so far. Now, when I'm talking balance, I'm not talking about this, because that doesn't do it justice. I'm talking about balance like this. That is what best performance is. Work and rest are two ends of the spectrum, and you're trying to get them to perfectly coincide with each other. Now, I don't like getting too mathy in these videos, but I need to pull out a graph. This is the graph of gains. It's actually the stimulus and adaptation curve, but my title's snappier. The fitness industry stole this and then misapplied it to personal training, but that's another story. Stimulus is the training, the session, the work, the war, getting bit by a radioactive spider. The stimulus kicks the sympathetic nervous system into gear. It's the fight, flight, or freeze. The line represents you adapting to the stimulus. You get worse first, weaker, frailer. You're at your most vulnerable until you start the process of recovery. You eat, sleep, relax, enjoy. This recovery uses the parasympathetic nervous system. Now, as time passes, your capacity returns back to where it was. You haven't improved, you're not better, you're just back to the old level. Then, with more recovery, you super compensate. You get your spider powers, you make yourself a suit, and you start web slinging. If you're smart, that is when you train again, because your level is better. The session that you do is like being bit by a spider again, and so it continues. Now, I mentioned the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system, not to bamboozle you with science. Sprinting is all about the nervous system. It's not about how big your muscles are. Now, yeah, we focus on the muscles, but at best, it's just a mask. At worst, it's a red herring. The real issue is the nervous system. I think I'm going to have to use pictures or video to make this easier. Right. The sympathetic state is like Maximus in war. Parasympathetic is like Netflix and chill. I remember in one of my view videos I said that natural talent is having the full alphabet. If you've got gaps in your alphabet, then those are your limiting factors, and you need to fill those gaps quickly and often. That's basically the Silfacker OAP training system. Basically, plateauing in the graph of gains picture is just never getting to supercompensation. You're just stimulating and recovering back to the same level each and every time. So you need to get to supercompensation. Now, there are many ways to do it, but here are two ways of thinking about it so that I can answer the question. You can either space out your competitions more, so basically more training, less competitions. You need to just organize your diary better. You need to become a better secretary to yourself. Or organize better recovery in between the competitions so you can get further up the curve in between the times. So, better food, sleep, and stress management. You need to be a better chef, hotel, and guru to yourself. And here's the gem that no one tells sprinters. The order of importance is 3, 2, 1. It's the opposite of bodybuilding. Why? Because bodybuilding is metabolic, and so food is therefore alpha. Sprinting is neural, and so stress is alpha. They're all important, but that's the hierarchy. And that's why psychology is so important in sprinting, and not just the sympathetic psychology of killer instinct and confidence. You need to be just as good at the parasympathetic psychology too. Natural talent in sprinting isn't just about having fast legs, it's about having great stress management psychology. Why? Because poor stress management is the greatest drain on supercompensation. The sympathetic nervous system doesn't get stronger from prolonged stress, it shuts down. And stress is anything that keeps you in fight, flight, or freeze. Stress slows recovery because it keeps you on the sympathetic side. And your body doesn't differentiate between different types of stress. Tiger? Psst, stress. Semi-final? Psst, stress. Assignment in by Tuesday? Psst, stress. Some idiot cutting you up in traffic? Psst, stress. It's all the same. And that psst, stress stops you getting over onto the parasympathetic side. Now, I'd say that 99% of stress is perspective, as in, the way we see the world directly influences how stressed we are in a situation. So if training is a stimulus that you want, and then you want to recover, then unless a tiger is literally walking down the street, you need to control the way you think about everything else so that you don't stop or slow down your recovery. If you don't control your perspective, it's going to run amok and steal your gains. If you've got natural talent in this area, you're probably going to have picked up good life and world perspective skills at a young age from the adults around you. But if you don't have that, then you need to get those skills because that will become one of your biggest limiting factors. You train your brain like you train your body. Hell, train your brain while you're training your body. It's the best time. Observe yourself. How do you compute the stress of the next rep, the next set, the next session, the next competition? Now, I know it looks like I've gone a bit off topic with all this mind stuff, but just watch me bring this back. A heavy competition schedule only really suits the best athletes of each age group because when you're the best, you don't have to compete at 100% to win, and you rarely lose. They're less stressed at going in, they believe because experience has told them that they've got a higher chance of winning, and they're less worried about the outcome because the outcome is normally good. This means that they don't have to go flat out to win. They can recover quicker because their parasympathetics kick in quicker, and so therefore they supercompensate more between meets, so improving their PB each time that they compete. It's self-fulfilling. Now, others look and copy, but they don't get the same results because it's not the same psychology. Every time they lose, unless they've got the psychology to deal with it, it's just an extra stress that they've got to deal with, which is stopping them from recovering. When we win, it sets up the neural configuration to allow us to repeat that level again. It does this by speeding up the recovery. That's the winning streak. Everything's good. Training's good, winning's good, life's good, so training's good, winning's good. When we lose, the body doesn't want to go back out and fight too soon, so it slows the recovery down. Losing sucks, so training's not great, and life's not ideal, so losing sucks, so training's not great. So eventually, we become apathetic to the losses. You don't get that surge of adrenaline anymore, and you think you're neurally burned out. The chances are, you're not though. Your body's just deliberately understimulating you to protect you from the toxicity of the losses. So, what's the answer? Well, train your psychology and train your maximal speed in training. Now the psychology part, that's obvious. Not obvious how to do it, but obvious to do it. But the real reason why maximal speed training is better than relying on competition for most is that maximal speed in training isn't at 100% like it is in competition. It's at 85 to 95%. It's controlled, and that control allows you to win in your mind every time. And maximal speed training means that you can train yourself to perform at these higher intensities with lower fight or flight hype. And that makes you very dangerous because now you're training so you don't have to be some kind of mad dog just to run at 90% of max speed. You can run 90% of your best just listening to the Eagles.
Take it easy, take it easy.
I think I've kind of answered this question, but who can tell? I hope it helps though. Just bust me a thumbs up, because let me tell you something.
Bustin' makes me feel good.
There's another part to this plateauing, so chat away in the comments, babe. And if you like my vibe, please subscribe. Listen up, I need some information about